Algae, noun, a simple non-flowering and typically aquatic plant of a large assemblage that includes the seaweeds and many single-celled forms. Algae is an ancient plant, as old as the first animals that came into existence. Algae provides the largest source of oxygen in our atmosphere. In recent times, however, with the rise of the motorboat and pollution, the amount of algae in our planet has fluctuated. The focus of my project will be about what conditions produce the most algae and my experience growing it. Illustrated is what I hypothesized to be the results of this project. Salt water will produce bright green algae, fresh water will produce dark bluish green algae, and tap water, well, I don't know what tap water will do, we'll find out later. To begin this project, I began by researching the different water samples I could use to grow algae. First, I started off by going to the beach to get some salt water. After all, this is a marine science project. Seriously though, I went to the beach. Next, I collected water from a fresh water source. And for the control group, I used regular old tap water. And there you go, 3 samples of water, all filled with algae. Well, if I had any. Fortunately, I have a solution for that. This is good. As stated earlier in this video, seaweed is actually a type of algae. That, everything's done. Now all we have to do is just wait and see what happens. Observations were made every week after the algae was put into the water. I started recording observations on Thursday, March 8th, and every week afterwards, all the way up to May. Almost 2 months of recording data. This continued on until May 3rd, the last week before the project was due. All observations were recorded and put into my time log. The results were very interesting. So it turns out none of my algae samples actually developed weird colors like bright green or blue-green. Instead, I got something very different. The freshwater sample grew mold within a week of the algae being put in there. By week 5, the mold developed this overwhelming smell that I was actually asked to throw it out. The other 2 samples fared better than the freshwater. Surprisingly, the saltwater sample didn't develop any mold at all. This was strange to me, considering the ocean probably contains more microbes and microscopic organisms than the freshwater sample. The tap water sample also grew mold, but it was at a slower rate when compared to the freshwater sample. So although I didn't get the results that I was hoping for, I got something completely different and interesting. However, that's how all sciences work. You go in thinking something's gonna happen, turns out you get something else different. I found this project really fun. It's given me experience and being consistent with short-term goals and being organized with time. Overall, this project was a very good experience for me. Perhaps I would like to attempt something similar to this in the future.